Right, so I've been slowly making progress on the Supra. So I got my blow-off valve on. Managed to get a window washer bottle, because the old one was buggered or rotted away. Got a few more parts coming for that, but these turned up the other day. So got my uniclutch, my fitment kit. So I got that. It's already in there, good to go. So I won't need these other ones. Got some bits for the gearbox. I got a chromoly first gear thrust washer upgrade and a bearing retainer plate. So that should help the gearbox survive a bit of power, or a bit more power. So new upgraded valve springs, self-explanatory. You got a upgraded or a 3-pound inner wastegate spring, so it increased the base pressure. A replacement spacers, because the other ones I got were double drilled, so these are only drilled for 5x114, as it says on the label. So I can drill a hole and these can actually screw to the rotor, just for the certification process. That's what they require, so I can't do that with the other ones. This clutch looks sweet though. I like this clutch. So if you're not familiar with this, so there you go, the uniclutch. So it's a twin disc clutch. You buy an adapter kit to suit your vehicle, and this bolts to your flywheel. That has its own integrated flywheel. It's all one piece. It's all lined up. No need for an alignment tool. You swap that bit out to suit your splines. So there's a bunch of other different kits to suit different gearboxes. They give you all the instructions you need and all that sort of shit. So this one here is rated for up to 650 foot-pounds, or like 875 newton meters of torque, so should hold a bit of power. My target's 400 horsepower to the wheels, which should be somewhere between 5 to 600 newton meters, so be barely leaning on this clutch. Should be able to push it further if I wanted to in the future, which is lovely. But I need to pull the engine and gearbox out. Obviously, to do upgrades like that, it's easier with it all out. So before I get stuck in with that, I need to make some room. There's rubbish and shit everywhere in here, so I'll get stuck in and start clearing all this shit away, make some more room. That's as far back as I can go without starting to go down the ramp. So I'm going to have to make this work with the engine crane. Should be enough room. I've done an engine swap in here before in the Ford, so done it before and do it again. Hopefully this is the last time this all comes out, and then once I get all this stuff in, I'm off to the dyno to go get it tuned properly. So I'll get this cleaned up and I'll be back. Well, I've moved a little bit of shit around, got some rubbish to get rid of and whatnot. The courier lady turned up and I got my press. Just a cheap one. I think you probably use it once, but she's on and sorted. Already crushed a couple of things, put a hole in my can, broke my thermostat, but yeah, sweet. So I shall carry on with tidying this mess up. Right, so I've started tearing it down, as you can see. So I'm going to start carrying on undoing the gearbox from the engine. So I've already done that side, so I need to do this side, get the starter motor out, get the rest of the bolts out, then pull that hunk out. Then I'll be able to throw this in. This is all good to go. So it's all bolted up. Comes with spacers, and comes with a bunch of different spacers. So I got the specific ones for my setup. So it's all good to go. And then once this is out and stored somewhere, I'll look at pulling the gearbox after, and then I can put the special bits in there. So I've got the bearing retainer plate and a chromoly thrust washer Martin crawler. Both of them are Martin crawler, but get those in. So get all these in and give the engine another once over. Make sure everything's all buttoned up. Chuck it all back in, and then we're off to the dyno. So pretty happy. I'll be back with another update pretty soon. Right, and just like that, she's out. Didn't fight me too much. Undoing the wastegate return down there was a bit of a pain, but that's it. Sweet. Now I can leave that there for now and try whip this uniclutch on here. So this clutch is fairly new. It's only done 1500k, but it won't support the power that I'm looking for. So off with that and on with the uni. Right, so I got my old clutch off. Uniclutch is on, kind of. They haven't Loctited or tightened those bolts yet, but it's on. So this is my old clutch. It's a good unit. So where's the number? Of course it's upside down. There. It's a good little unit, that one. So plenty of life left on this. I've only done 1500k's, 1000 with the 1J, and then 600 with the 1.5 because it's 2J bottom end. So yeah, 1600k's on that. She's still good to go. A little surface rust, but she hasn't got too hot, which is good. So that should hold 400 horse with the 1J, but not with the 2J bottom end, with that extra torque, especially with the small turbo. She's punchy, so I might call it there for tonight. It's pretty dark, so I'll do that, call it, and then carry on tomorrow, I suppose. Right, so taking the opportunity while the motor's out to go through the loom and correct some stuff. It's only the second one I've ever made, so I've wired up the fuel pressure and the oil pressure, which just plugs into the adapter I've got on there. So that's all wired up. Now I've just gone, so I'm doing my boost switch, so that's pretty much good to go. So all I need to do now is shove this wire back through the firewall, which will go over to by the steering wheel, which is where this panel goes. And then there's my boost switch in, so high and low boost. While the engine's out again, so I've gone ahead and done a full service, so easy to get to the filter from here. Drain the oil, shove some new stuff in. Gone over all the silicone hoses, and I've bypassed the throttle body heater thing, so it pumps hot water into the throttle body. I don't know why Toyota done that, help it warm up or something, but something like this, it gets pretty hot, so doing that, bypassing it, should help with the control of the intake air temp, so no hot water goes through the throttle body anymore. So just bypass it, so it goes from that port there, and then I've just plumbed it straight back into the head. Oh, not there, where is it? There. So that's all done. So I've gone through, had an oil leak around here, so I think it was the oil pressure switch sensor. So I pulled it out, put some new Teflon on it, put it back in. It's all snug. Engine mounts, I need an engine mount. The one on this side is cooked, so snapped off. So I might order some solid mounts for it. Painted the gearbox, just cleaned it up, so yeah. So there's that. It's pretty bright, but done the belt housing as well, so there's that, and a few other bits I managed to paint there red. So once I get the main shaft back from the shop, I'll reassemble the gearbox and shove it back on, and then look at putting it all back together. And fingers crossed we go right on the dyno. So I don't know if I covered this clutch, but it's a uniclutch. So what it is it's what's in the name. It's a universal. It's a twin disc. So I don't know if you're able to see there's two discs in there. It bolts to your flywheel, so you've got a bunch of options. Yeah, that's better. You've got a bunch of options. So you buy an adapter kit, or fitment kit is what it's called, to suit your engine, or your flywheel and your gearbox. The spline in here is interchangeable, so I've got the correct spline for the R series gearbox that I've got, but the fitment kits come with, there's a bunch of different types of fitment kits too, but they come with a bunch of different splines that you swap in and out. So if I change my gearbox, I can keep that clutch, get the correct spline, chuck it on, and we're away. So there are, from what I can see, there's 3 stages of clutch. The blue one's the sport. You got a silver one, which is the kind of like an OE replacement upgrade. Then you got the sport, it says right there. And then the red one is the track, so that holds the most. And there's 2 different sizes. This is the smallest one, and then there's a bigger one that holds obviously more power. But depending on your engine and gearbox setup, they'll tell you which one to grab. Then you just buy it. So the clutch and the fitment kit all up was about $1,300. So in comparison, my old clutch with the flywheel was $1,400. This old one here, well, it's not old, but that one there, it's a good clutch, but won't hold what I'm looking for. So the target's 400 horsepower to the wheels. Spoken to my tuner, he's happy with the setup and what I've got. Went through the motor setup and the injectors, the turbo, everything like that, and he's happy. We'll get to 400 pretty easily and probably blow past it. So 400 is the goal. Whatever it makes on wastegate pressure is low boost, and then tuner's discretion on high boost. So I don't see 450 being an issue with this. There we go. Yeah, so 450 is probably achievable. He's a bit concerned about the compression. It's a high comp, being a non-turbo bottom end. Has got a turbo head gasket and head studs, but being the non-turbo pistons, its compression is just over 200 to 210 across all 6, which is pretty close to 10 to 1 compression. And being on pump gas, I'm not running E85 or anything like that. Yeah, he'll probably call it at 450. So I don't know, we'll see what happens. So that's pretty cool. I'm pretty happy with that. Right, so I've kind of skipped ahead a bit. So I got this 4th gear back on. Got all the shifter linkages on. All the circlips are on. All the ball bearings are all in. I'm not left with any ball bearings down there, which is great. So this goes on here. I just need to find the other snap ring. That's no big deal. And then I'm going to start putting it back in the case. And I've test shifted it out of the box, and everything's moving sweet. So pretty happy. I'll come back once I'm a bit further in. And we have a gearbox. So first, second, third, fourth, fifth, reverse. Goes into all gears. Got all these right, so I didn't miss any ball bearings and springs, and spins very nice. So happy with that. Sweet. Now the next thing to do is try and get these valve springs in. We're not going to be bothered, but I have everything now to put it back in the car, get it running, driving, and then go to the dyno. So happy. This shifter's way better. So I had this one with a dodgy dog leg setup. It just felt real weird, and this is proper, precise. So I'm happy with that. Sweet. The O.J.Z 110 shifter, being an R151, a Hilux gearbox, it's a little bit shorter. So the original gear shifter there sat too far forward. Sat about here, which didn't match the car, and I actually had to get it in. I had to cut a chunk out of the tunnel to get that old one in. This one, I had to have a dog leg shifter, which was shit. So the shifter was here, then I had to make a dog leg up, and it was just rubbish. But this one should put it in pretty much the right spot. I might have to do a little bit of clearance for this in the tunnel, but following someone else that's done this gearbox in a Mark III, they said this shifter's the jam, and works really well. So gearbox is all good to go, it's re-sealed. Again, you've got those upgraded parts in there. I've just done all the valve springs. There's all my old ones, so I've just swapped all those out for upgraded ones. So now I'm just about ready to put the cams and all that back in. So the way I do the cams, or I've done it, is I just use the pretty long vacuum line. People use rope. You can use whatever you're comfortable with. I like using vacuum line. But so you shove that down there, wind the motor up, and it pushes the piston up and squashes that vacuum line against the valves and keeps the valves shut when you take the springs out. But that's all done now. I found my idle control valve, so I've got that installed, got the filter on there. I found my plug, so I'm going to have to wire that up to the wiring loom, which still needs a little bit of work. But I've got some extra auxiliary outputs to use. I think I only need to use like one or two of these. The two middle ones are just 12 volt, and the other ones are for the solenoids to open the two outers on both sides. So that shouldn't be too hard. Right, so we're all back together, the clutch is on. Obviously the cam's all in. Everything's all set. So the timing's all good. Spun it over a few times. Timing's still good. So you can see the clutch, so it just uses the dowel position that they tell you. It just bolts right on. And she's good to go. Slap her in, straight in the car, and we're good to go. So that's the clutch all good. The valves, springs are all done. It's all my old ones. So that's all good. Now I might try and get this gearbox on, and then it's pretty much ready to go in. So might go have a feed first, then come back and carry on. But yeah, pretty happy with this progress so far. It's all the upgrades done anyway, so to the engine and gearbox. Then yeah, so I'll just carry on. Right, so the gearbox is on. So that clutch makes it real easy to put the gearbox on. There's no alignment tool needed. Clutch is already, all the discs already lined up, so that just slid on perfectly fine. No resistance, nothing, so that's good. Got all my bolts in. Still got to put the starter motor back on, but all the other bolts are in. I initially forgot to put the throwout bearing and the clutch fork on, so I had to pull it all back off and do that. But we're on now, so that's good. I suppose I can chuck the engine mounts back on, the cross member back on for the gearbox as well. Need to locate a breather for that, but that's alright. I can do that in the car because that's all open anyway, so I can still chuck this all in and do that later. But no, this went on super easy compared to the other clutch, which is up here. Still a great clutch. Yeah, there it is, it's upside down. It's an Exceedi heavy duty 10-inch. So that currently retails for like $1,600. This whole uniclutch kit, so the clutch and the fitment kit cost me just under $1,400. So, and it can hold much more, a lot more torque than that other clutch. But yeah, sweet and happy. I might call it there. It's dark, raining, cold, so I'll lower it back down onto that tyre and call it for the night. Pick up on it when I go to put it back in. Right, mostly together now. So I fill the radiator up, let it warm up for a bit, double check everything for leaks and whatnot, and then I'll carry on. Whoop. Yep. Right, so to get that shifter to fit, I had to cut a little bit off here, shaved a little bit off the back of the shifter, but now she's in pretty good. I could take a little bit more off that side, but it's only going to tilt this way anyway, but we'll see how it goes. Make a plate to sit on top and we'll be all good, and tidy all that shit up down there and put the center console and all that shit back on. Yeah, we should be good to go. Put the dash back together and glove box back on, and then we're good to go. Just got to make the intercooler piping. I'm going to try and clock this turbo so the pipe comes down here, down and rather than out and across. So I've got a Type 90 alloy somewhere. I've got to find it, and I'll clock this. If I can make it work, then sweet. If not, I'll just have to run it how I did before, with the pipe just coming straight off and down. So this side, since I've got the shroud on, the old setup won't work, so I got a 45 to whack onto there. So that hopefully redirect the pipe across to the frame rail a bit more, and then I'll finish the rest of it up. Got the others bits sitting there, so yeah, getting closer. Got a fuel line in the back to replace, just because had to use a couple of adapters in the back from the fuel tank to the filter to make it work. I've got the correct stuff now, so I'll do the whole lot as uninterrupted -6. So I'll do that when the car's, since the car's up, I'll drop the tank and sort that out. But yeah, and she's a mess. Need to get rid of these, get those back on with new tyres on them, because these rub. These are pretty aggressive offset, so yeah, slowly getting there. Well, pretty much all done. So I've already gone for a drive. Might put a clip in of another drive, or go for another drive tomorrow, I suppose. But yeah, all in, all running. Shifter sits quite nice, pretty much in the middle. Gauges are all good. Oil pressure's sweet. The uniclutch is really nice and soft on the pedal, and yeah, easy engagement, easy to drive, and overall pretty smooth. So gearbox held up, done a couple of pulls, so I'm pretty happy with that. I'm gonna close it all up and call it a day. Alright, so it's the next day. I've already taken it for a drive, but I didn't film anything, so thought I'd take it for a little rip. Upshifting to fourth is a little tricky for some reason. It was alright before, but besides that, it shifts really nice. So pretty happy with the way the gearbox feels. Besides fourth, downshifting's fine, it's just going up. Put a larger vacuum line to the blow-up valve, which helps with the response, because before it was just surging the turbo before the valve was opening. Now that bigger vacuum line on seems to be pretty good. Really happy with this clutch too. Clutch feels real nice and soft. Easy to use. So cruising in fifth. Not too bad on the RPM for the speed. Being a diesel gearbox, the ratios are a little short. So putting that high ace diff centre in the supra diff case seems to be doing its job. So it's a 3.5 or 3.5 LSD now. Yeah, it sounds pretty good. Pretty happy with the way it sounds. Still got a few things to work out inside the cab, a few rattles here and there, but overall pretty chuffed. So I don't think I'll go any further than this for this video. Next one will be dyno tune, hopefully. So I'll put another video up for that. Go down my old street, old road, but she loses traction in a second, not fully tuned yet, so gives me an idea of what's to come when I hit the dyno. Again, the target is 400 horsepower to the wheels, nothing crazy but perfectly achievable in this setup. Super responsive street car. I plan on using it too, as much as I can. Yeah, that fourth gear is quite tricky to get into. But I'm just going to have to put up with it for now. I'll wind the window down a little bit so we can hear a bit more of that turbo, hopefully. Ah, bloody mucky. Yeah, lost traction instantly. Figured out the trick with fourth. You can't just go straight back into it, you got to give it a little wriggle and it just falls right in. So I'll give it another try here, give it a stab and see if I can get it. Yeah, that's it. Just a little wiggle and she's good. I think I'm going to leave this video here, and yeah, next time, like I said earlier, I'll be on the dyno or any other major updates with the car if I decide to change up the suspension or whatever. I'm losing traction in third. It's a wild car to drive. It's the fastest car I've had. We're going to Canada. 350Z, Subarus, that sort of thing, nothing crazy, just like little toys really. This is the first proper fast car I've had, first proper turbo car I've had. The Subaru was turbo, but it was a whole new ball game. But yeah, I'll leave it there. If you like this sort of content, this sort of build, just drop a like, drop a comment, ask whatever, or you know, if you have any suggestions, then don't be afraid to ask. If you want to see any more, then subscribe, or don't, whatever, it's up to you. It does help me out. It's only a tiny channel, so yeah, I think that's it.